learners with a degree in special education from the University of York. She is also a certified reading intervention specialist trained in Autumn-Gillingham approach. Her advocacy has impacted learners across Cameroon by equipping them with both literacy and leadership skills. As lead career counselor for the Ladies Arise and Connect initiative, she empowers young women to break barriers in male dominated fields. Through her personal brand, Alineb, she continues to drive educational transformation and promote the idea that learning differentially is a strength. Welcome board, and the stage is all yours, Njonje Ellis. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I would like to start by presenting a small scenario. What if one day you came up to me and said, Alice, I need an experienced leader to help my company soar and thrive through this third industrial wave of AI? And I said, sure, that candidate needs, I have just the candidate you need. Someone that has all the prime skills for a great leader. Someone that thinks outside of the box, that is hyper focused, critical thinking skills, innovative thinking, great storytelling abilities, and an exceptional uh, pays exceptional details, attention to details. Now, the next flow of that conversation would be you would immediately be excited about the prospects of hiring that person. But then, what if I sat you down and said, this person, if I may add, is dyslexic or has ADHD or in general is neurodivergent. So that person may not be charismatic or eloquent or flamboyant enough. I would literally see you shrug your feet and wonder if that would make your choice. Distinguished guests, visionary leaders, esteemed colleagues, it's a privilege to be here at the WYN conference under the banner of Unleashing Global Object Opportunities, Empowering Entrepreneurs for Sustainable Growth. Today, I stand not just as an educator or an advocate, but as a witness to a transformative truth. Leadership can be taught, cultivated, and ignited in unexpected places, often amongst those whose potentials has been overlooked. My hope is to reintroduce to you the question that challenges tradition and provokes imagination. Are leaders born or are they taught to thrive? And most importantly, can learning diversity and inclusive education provide the innovative route to reimagine entrepreneurial leadership, particularly for women and girls who learn differently? My aim is to add a twist to the old age conversation on whether leadership can be born alongside diversity, disability, or taught as an added skills to individuals. For too long, leadership has been reframed within narrow confines. It's often been associated with verbal fluency, academic performance, charismatic dominant traits that aligns with neurotypical profiles and traditional education models. This limited view excludes countless individuals, men or women, whose cognitive pathways differ but but whose capacity for innovation, strategy and resilience is no less significant. Harvard Business Review 2020 indicates that only 2% of global ventures capital funding goes to women, and nearly none goes to women with learning differences. Female entrepreneurs often encounter systemic barriers such as bias, limited access to funding, and inadequate network. For neurodivergent women, particularly in under-resourced countries, this challenge is magnified. Their unique perspective and innovative ideas drawn from their disabilities are frequently overlooked due to societal misconceptions about neurodiversity. Many countries and cultures, neurodivergent traits like creative thinking, thinking outside of the box, problem solving skills, being hyper focused on a goal, resilience, attention to details, divergent thinking, which is the ability to generate multiple ideas or solutions which can lead to innovation and strategic advantage. Empathy, willingness to take risks, authenticity, and storytelling. Traits are misunderstood, which leads to stigmatization and exclusion from environments that are aware of how to harness and mold them for their benefit. These traits create an environment where any type of learning difference may lack the confidence to pursue entrepreneurial ventures or may not receive the encouragement needed to showcase their talents. Now, learning difference is not gender bias. It's a condition faced by both men and women. But unfortunately, girls and women with dyslexia, ADHD, or any other learning difference face a dual challenge. One, for being misunderstood in the educational system because of their disability, and secondly, being minimized simply because they are women. Consequently, being excluded from the leadership growth trajectory. Yet, these same individuals possess attributes that define the 21st century entrepreneurial success. For example, adaptability, creative problem solving, visual thinking, and emotional intelligence. This presentation posits what learning diversity is, embraces, and supports through inclusive structured education. It becomes a catalyst to inclusive entrepreneurial leadership. It's not an exemption, but a new standard. I would love to suggest a new model for leadership development rooted in inclusive, neurodiversity, and informed education. Our model integrates insights from three pivotal frameworks: the Howard Gardner theory of multiple intelligence, the Lev-Vygotsky social cultural learning theory, and the 𝐷𝐸 strength-based model of neurodiversity. These three models stand as the foundation of this new leadership framework. Howard Gardner disrupts the IQ paradigm, showing that leadership can arise through interpersonal, spatial, and kinetic intelligence, not just linguistic or logical strength. Lev Vygotsky's leadership is learning, is social construct. It flourishes in environments where collaboration and mentorships are prioritized. Aid and Ed, in their book The Dyslexic Advantage, the authors reveal that dyslexic minds often excel in narrative reasoning, pattern recognition, and big picture thinking, traits crucial for innovation and entrepreneurship. This framework collectively suggests that leadership is not just a fixed trait, but a developed capacity. The key lies in the environment. A great example would be one success story by Dr. Mary Temple Grandin. She's a PhD doctorate. She's also a prominent proponent in the humane treatment of livestock for slaughters. Grandin is a renowned consultant. She's also a recipient of the James Beard Foundation Award. Today, she teaches courses on livestock behavior and facility design at the Colorado University in the USA. What made her stand out, you may ask? In her field, she has the ability to see and recognize patterns, which solves problems and consistently puts her ahead of the curve. But also, Dr. Temple is autistic, with all the characteristics of one. Her success story illustrates the perfect blend of these three theories, and it's just one of the many stories of success. To further explore these theories in practice, I constructed an 8-month quantitative study across 6 Cameroon schools, working with 30 girls aged 10 to 18 who had undiagnosed and unsupported learning differences, particularly dyslexia. Using the Orton-Gilliam structured literacy approach, we offered intensive multisensory interventions focused on building foundation literacy while simultaneously harnessing and molding and developing skills like critical thinking, verbal reasoning, metacognition, and group collaboration, which already existed. This was not simply a reading intervention, it was a leadership incubator, reimagining literacy not as a remedial task, but as a portal to self confidence, advocacy, and innovation. The results and the impacts were outstanding. The skills developed, the average improvement rates we achieved, and the leadership qualities were able to mold. For self-confidence, we had 87% improvement, and leadership skills that we were able to pull out were public speaking, initiative taking. For verbal expression, we had leadership qualities like ideal articulation and negotiation. For creative problem solving, we had innovation and risk taking. For peer collaboration, we had a 76% increase in team management, emotional leadership. For strategic thinking, we had a 68% increase for vision setting and long term planning. Now, I would like to present one more case study. We had a girl during our research called Sandra, age 14. She arrived nearly nonverbal and was unable to read at her grade level. But by the time the research was 6 months, she, she had received all the mentorship and she became one of the leading literacy uh, students or candidates or participants in the group. Sandra was not a born leader, but she was taught to thrive in a space where people could finally see her abilities in her disabilities. The insight and interpretation of this research, leadership is teachable. If structured, if put in a responsive teaching program, can awaken dormant skills. Neurodivergent learners are, are entrepreneurial by nature. Their adaptive thinking mirrors startup resilience. Inclusive education develops the whole learner. It fosters agency, vision, and belonging. A new model entrepreneurial leadership model. If if we are to build a resilient global economy, we must diversify who gets to lead. The future entrepreneur is not necessarily the fastest speaker or the top test scorer. She or he may be a reflective visual thinker, the pattern recognizer, and the empathetic storyteller. To realize this model, we must design the education now system and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in that way, in a way that recognizes diverse intelligence, that values process over speed, in a way that replaces exclusion with access, and that prioritizes mentorship and scaffolding. This is not just idealism, it's an innovation, it's an innovative strategy. Now, how do we transpose this model for entrepreneurial women, for women in entrepreneurship? From an economic standpoint, enabling women with diverse learning profiles to access leadership trainings through inclusive education isn't simply equitable, it's strategic. According to the McKinsey Global Institute, closing the gender gap in entrepreneurship could add up to 12 trillion to the $12 trillion to the global GDP by 2025. Yet this projection fails to account for the contribution of neurodivergent women, many of whom possess extraordinary cognitive strength essential for business resilience and innovation. This is also a human rights imperative. Article 26 of the Human Rights Universal Declaration guarantees the right to education for all. Denying dyslexic or neurodivergent girls accessing to literacy and leadership pathways is not just a systemic oversight, it's a rights violation. Inclusive education is not a luxury, it's compliance with global justice and gender equity. By integrating this inclusive approach into entrepreneurship incubators, vocational programs, and business schools, we can create ecosystems where women can learn differently and are no longer put on the margins. They are at the center, they're driving the impact and disrupting the market, as well as shaping the future while being authentic to their diversity. Policy recommendations. To implement this vision, we must reform teacher education, equip all teachers, all education stakeholders with tools to identify and support learning difference, embed structural literacy into the national curricula, make evidence-based multisensory learning a standard, establish neurodiversity multisensory design accelerative programs specifically for cognitive diverse females entrepreneurship, engage private sector holders, and encourage inclusive hiring, mentoring, and investment practice. For future leaders, leadership is not inherited, it is inclusive by design. When we teach girls to read with dignity, think with freedom, and speak with purpose, we do more than educate, we transform the economy, the society, and the future. Born to lead, perhaps, but taught to thrive, absolutely. Let us invest in teaching them to thrive. Thank you. If there are any questions,
Hello. Hi.
hi Roy.
Hi. Njonje. We have a couple of questions from various speakers. One of them is, what is the impact of early exposure to inclusive education on young girls' entrepreneurial ambitions?
What is the impact?
Yeah, I mean the early
I
exposure.
think. Oh, okay. Early exposure is essential when it comes to the experience that young girls gain, the confidence they gain, and they build on. They also have that confidence to try out a lot of things and to be able to present their ideas, and these ideas turn out to be very innovative ideas which, if harnessed properly, if mentored right, these ideas turn out to be solutions for a lot of the problems that we have and face.
Okay. Thanks, Njonje, Alex, for being with us. It was really powerful message oriented, especially for the African women empowerment, Cameroon especially. Thanks for giving a doing a significant impact and transformation of the Cameroon girls' education and uplifting them in one their lives. Thank you so much. Your work will be greatly appreciated, and we will send you a couple of questions from the other attendees to your email. And thank you so much for being in the platform. Namaste. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the questions. Looking forward to the next presentation.
Bye bye. Namaste.
Bye.